If you're looking to get an EU golden visa, there are literally more options now than ever. Even though some countries have closed their golden visas, like Spain, Portugal removed real estate, and the processing time is almost 4 years for some people, which is, when you think about it, it is absolutely insane that somebody has been waiting 4 years for their residency card. When I got mine in less than 30 days, essentially. So if you pick the right country, you can get it in 2 weeks, 30 days, in some cases, sometimes even 5 days, in some cases with some expedited versions. If you want to get a relatively straightforward EU golden visa, because I talk to a lot of Americans and also clients from all over the world. Maybe you have a Saudi citizenship and you live in Saudi Arabia, but you want the access to Schengen whenever you like. You don't want to have to go through this ETIAS. You have multiple millions of dollars, so might as well get an EU golden visa. Whatever. You might want to get another second passport, for example, like a Serbian citizenship or Caribbean citizenship, but let's say you want to get a golden visa, the most straightforward country, I don't want to say the easiest because there are more requirements for this golden visa than with other countries, but the most straightforward and also the cheapest would be Latvia. Latvia is a northern country in the Baltics. It's a pretty beautiful place. I've been to Riga many times. I looked at real estate in Riga. They have two different options. They have the company option and they have the real estate option. The company option, which is the cheapest one out of really all the golden visas available, is 50,000 invested into a Latvian company. That Latvian company needs to have tax returns, needs to have certain requirements, needs to have a certain amount of employees. So you can't just pick a random company to invest in. It has to follow certain criteria, but a lot of companies qualify. You invest a 50K in there and you give a non-refundable fee of around 10,000 euros as well, plus all the lawyer fees. Let's count total around 75,000 euros. And a lot of that is in investments to get your 5-year Latvian residency permit. Now, this is not going to get you Latvian citizenship. This is not going to get you a Latvian passport ever, unless you actually live in Latvia, which, pretty place, nice place, safe. Wouldn't really recommend to live there. The winters are pretty harsh. Tricky to live there more than 183 days per year. And also the tax department, I personally heard from, for example, the founders of Bolt, which is a company that was founded in Latvia and then moved to other countries. They've told me that the Latvian tax department is quite strict and very aggressive when they're chasing people that have a lot of money. So you want to be careful with actually living in Latvia long term, getting PR or getting citizenship. But if you just want a golden visa, it works out pretty well. It's a 5-year permit, you can sponsor your whole family, and you can renew that permit as long as you keep that investment into the company and you pay the fees. If you want to go for the real estate route, it is 250,000 euros into real estate, and you can get a pretty decent piece of real estate. I was looking at apartments, 2-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms in a nice location, brand new building, 260,000 euros, and that gives you the golden visa. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy investment. For a lot of people, it makes a lot of sense if you don't want to commit to a fund. For example, in Hungary, you don't want to put the money in Romania with the 400,000 new golden visa. You don't want to wait 3 to 4 years for Portugal. You don't want to put 500K into Italy. You just want that travel freedom. Not forever. You can't go and live 7 months or 8 months in any other EU country, only Latvia. That is the only place you're allowed to live as a non-EU citizen with a residency permit, but you can travel to other countries. Let's say you're living in Dubai 7 months per year, and you just want to travel through the Schengen area 5 months per year without having to do the ETIAS, while going through the EU passport line, because as an EU resident, you can actually use the EU passport line. Many people don't know about this, but if you go through the EU passport line, nobody's going to tell you anything because you're a resident. You have a residency card, specifically a long-term residency card like this one from any EU country. It is pretty straightforward. Now, one thing to know and some words of caution is that the business investment is not extremely passive like a real estate one. You buy a real estate and then you just rent it out, not rent it out, keep it as an office from time to time, go there once a year, whatever it is, and that's actually the requirement. You have to go 1 day per year at least. So go and spend a couple of days in the summer. I highly recommend Riga in the summer, specifically July and August when they have these days until 11 p.m., sometimes until 11:30 p.m. You have beautiful sun all over. It's very green as well. Riga in general has a lot of parks. Absolutely recommend it to meet that physical requirement. And you do have some requirements like tax returns, reports every year, and overall keeping the company active. You can't just let it die. And you also can't pull out the investment because that would cancel your residency permit. It's also important to note that having the company and the golden visa in Latvia does not make you a tax resident of Latvia. Countries generally in the European Union, for example, make you a tax resident if you spend 183 days, or in the case of countries like France, for example, if you have your economic interest or your personal interest. So let's say your wife is French and lives in France, typically that's going to tie you as a tax resident even if you spend 120 days instead of 183 days. Or if your kids go to school in France, or if you have a business with employees in France, that might also make you a tax resident. In the case of Latvia, unless you spend 183 days, that is unlikely to make you a tax resident. So essentially, you have a company that you just run to fuel your golden visa. If you want something more passive, you can obviously go for Hungary golden visa, 250,000 euros, Italy golden visa, 250,000, but more realistically, 500,000 euros or up. Portugal golden visa, 500,000 euros, or other golden visas that are popping up like Romania, for example. Cyprus also has permanent residency, 300,000 euros. They're on track to join Schengen. Malta also has permanent residency. For somebody that wants permanent residency in the Schengen area and the European Union, that's actually the best program, around 150,000, maybe 200,000 with all the fees for your whole family. It's going to cost you, but you're going to get permanent residency. It is not an investment, it is a donation, but you get that PR and then you don't need to worry about it. You're not going to get citizenship in any of these countries unless you actually go and live there, or if you make a significant extreme contribution to any of these EU countries to actually get their citizenship by merit. Also, one question I get a lot is, can you have multiple permits? If I already have a Portugal golden visa, can I get a Latvian golden visa? And the answer in most cases is yes, as long as you meet the requirements for each golden visa. So let's say you get the Latvian one, as long as you go once per year to Latvia and you have proof of that and you continue to do the company returns, or you buy the real estate and you keep the real estate investment, that permit gets renewed. And as long as you keep the investment in Portugal and you go to Portugal the required amount to renew your golden visa, you can keep the Portugal one. You're not going to get citizenship in most cases, apart from Portugal, but let's see how much time it actually takes you to get citizenship. But as long as you meet the physical presence requirements, Portugal is really the only option for citizenship through a golden visa without actually having to live somewhere. To keep golden visas active, in most cases, you don't have to spend that much time in a country. Therefore, you can renew them and you can have as many as you want. You can have 4 if you want. You can have Greece, you can have Italy, you can have Hungary, you can have Latvia if you wanted to. I don't really see a point because it's not really worth it to invest in so many countries and get so many different permits. You can just have 1 or 2, but it is legal to have them. It is allowed as long as you comply with each country's requirements. If you actually want to get citizenship, there are countries outside of the European Union, for example, like Serbia or Montenegro or Albania, that offer citizenship by merit. You have to show true contribution to the country, and you have to have a good profile, no criminal record, no sanctions. But if you make a significant contribution, there are laws that allow the top levels of government to look at your file and actually approve you for citizenship. Thousands of people are not getting approved. This is very selective, very case by case, but there are people that have been approved way faster than with programs in the Caribbean, for example, where you are waiting more than 6 months, in a lot of cases more than a year. Citizenship by merit can be a lot faster. If you're looking for the best residency permits around the world for a plan B, another country to call home, or just you want to have as many options as possible, check out this video right here on the more than 36 countries that offer residency options for a millionaire. Check them out right here.